See HMCS Haida behind me. She's a tribal class frigate built for the Canadian Navy right near the end of World War II. Saw some service in the Korean War and during the Cold War. There in the late 1960s, they retired her after she had put over 600,000 nautical miles under her keel, which is equivalent of 27 times around the Earth and the Earth's equator. Now she's down here in Hamilton, has been for the last 15 or so years, I guess. Used to be berthed over at Ontario Place along the Toronto Harbour front. I haven't been on board in about 30 years, and I hear they've done a lot of renovations, a lot of upgrades, and opened up some new spaces that I wasn't able to go to some 30 years ago. So stick around, we're going to climb on board and check it out. We board midship on the port side, right at the 4 torpedo tubes. These tubes can be turned to fire either off the port or starboard side of the ship, and they are the only remaining original armament from when the ship was built in 1943. Heading forward down the port side, I think this is a good time to tell you, this tour took us about 3 hours, but only cost $4.50. So this is a lot of bang for your buck. I'm only going to hit some of the highlight spots over the next 7 minutes, but this is a must-see for yourself. Up on the forecastle deck, you see the 2 windlasses that used to raise and lower the anchors. Just behind us is the twin 4-inch high-angle gun. This gun had an accurate firing range of over 15 kilometers or nearly 10 miles. The day we were on the tour, they were doing some work on the display, and sadly there was nothing to see or record. Entering inside the ship at this point is a petty officer mess, where up to 20 petty officers lived. It now houses displays showing the ship's career. Heading back down to the main deck, we enter into the mess deck. This is the main living quarters for the ship's company of sailors. Fully crewed, over 200 sailors would eat, sleep, and relax in this area. At the rear of this area are 2 large lifts that would move the 4-inch shells for the forward gun up from the lower decks, then be carried forward. Imagine nearly 200 sailors sleeping in this area in hammocks in the heat of summer with only 3 minutes of fresh water for showering and shaving every 2 days. Just aft of the mess deck is the radio room. This room handled all in and outbound communications for the ship. You'll notice no flat screen monitors or Starlink internet here, but your desk chair does have a seatbelt. This is the Squid anti-submarine mortar system. This type of depth charge could fire a 12-inch mortar weighing nearly 400 pounds, 40 yards to either side and up to 275 yards out in front of the ship. They were set to explode 25 feet above the target, causing a massive underwater pressure wave. Just forward of the mortar launch system is the mortar handling room, where a cable hoist would lift the squid mortars from a protected storage area deep in the lower decks of the ship, to be rolled out to either the port or starboard launch system. The ship is managed by Parks Canada, and as you can see, it's still undergoing major restoration to allow more areas to be open to the public. This area currently undergoing that process is the operations room, which was the ship's information center, housing sonar, radar, as well as navigation and the wheelhouse. The captain's sea cabin is located right next to the operations room. It doesn't look like much for the ship's captain to live in, but it was far more than any other crew member had access to. Up on the bridge deck, you'll notice this area is completely open to the outside as it was back in the 1940s. It's hard to see through the plexiglass window, but this is the wheelhouse. Currently under restoration, the wheelhouse would be staffed at all times by at least 3 sailors while the ship was at sea. The ship could be steered from 3 other locations across the ship. This midship location was used mostly when entering and exiting port, as it gave easy sight lines in all directions. Welcome to the engine room. This is an area in most museum ships that they don't have open to the public, as it's normally a very dirty and sometimes dangerous place to clean and make safe for public access. As you can see, that is not the case here in the Haida. All cleaned up and painted like she just went to sea for the first time. The engine room houses 2 main steam turbines that drove the main propellers. Making it more interesting, the whole area is open for you to walk around on the catwalks and explore the areas and look inside the turbines. This area, however, is not a place for those with a little claustrophobia. Access is down a very narrow ladder through a deck hatch, so watch your head, knees, and elbows on your way in and out. In the grass next to the ship, you'll find the 2 massive 10-foot propellers. These propellers push the ship around the world nearly 27 times throughout her career. In the video description below, you'll find a link to the Haida's website and a Google Maps location if you want to check the ship out for yourself. Hope you enjoyed this quick tour of the HMCS Haida, and if you're ever in the Hamilton area, I strongly recommend you check it out for yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.